Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube. It's your girl Honey. Today we're talking about Venus in Scorpio. This was like highly requested, as it is by you damn Scorpio people. You guys just want your videos up quickly before everyone else's, but I appreciate the love. You guys, Scorpio energy in regards to astrology is crazy. You guys are just massive supporters. I appreciate it. But yes, Venus in Scorpio, honey. What can I tell you about Venus in Scorpio? First of all, to have your Venus in Scorpio, you could possibly be a Scorpio sun, a Libra sun, a Virgo sun, a Sagittarius sun, or a Capricorn sun. All right, Venus is actually in detriment in Scorpio, and the reasons, I'll explain the reasons later on in the video. Venus is the planet of love, of your relationships. It tends to be what you are attracted to, also in relation to your Mars as well, what you should be dating. It's your creative skills as well, your pleasures. Venus is ruled by Taurus and co-ruler is Libra. Scorpio is home to the 8th house on the natal chart. Scorpio rules Pluto. Pluto is the planet of transformation, changing, the rebirth. And the 8th house represents intimacy, sex, the rebirth, transformation, other people's resources. All of these things come into the 8th house. 8th house is seen as a very dark house, but I love 8th house. Scorpio is also the co-ruler to Mars as well. But it's described as being the dark side to Mars, which is Pluto. But yes, we will touch base on all of that a bit more. But anyway, someone who has their Venus in Scorpio. Let's start off by talking about why Venus is in detriment here. Why is Venus in detriment in Scorpio? Venus is all about your creativity. It's all about your love, how you love people, what kind of partners you should be dating. And having your Venus in Scorpio, it just kind of makes it difficult. Scorpio can be very jealous, very possessive, very controlling. And that's very difficult when you are dating someone. It's very difficult to express, how you feel about someone, when you have your Venus in Scorpio, because it's also very, very secretive. Now, I do really like Venus in Scorpios, regardless of what is being said about them. I have my Venus in Pisces, so I am a selfless lover, and I find Scorpios, these are relationship people, okay? Now, I find that if you're someone who has a Sagittarius sun, it is in conflict here because Sagittarius is all about polygamous relationships. It's about being free and, being sexually liberated and going out and doing your thing. Now, when your Venus is in Scorpio, you are about that one person, who you are able to possess, to control. Now, I find when it comes to the Sag people, Sag suns, Venus and Scorpio people, everyone knows them to be this big old Sag, especially if they might even be Sag dominant, right? But everyone knows them to be this big, ballsy Sag person. Hey, it's me, Sag, I'm in here, I'm in the house. Everyone knows Sag to be like that, right? But when they get into relationships, when they fall heavily for someone, that person will not know them as the hey Sag person. They will know them to be the Venus and Scorpio person, because they become very, very, controlling and possessive over their partners. So it conflicts because they're two very different energies. Now, when your sun is in Libra, or you're maybe even a Libra dominant, it can also affect this as well, because Libra is ruled by the 7th house, and Libra is all about creating bonds with other people. When a Libra person or a Libra dominant person has their Venus in Scorpio, when they're creating bonds, they are creating bonds. And they are finding the depth in people, because Venus Scorpio is all about finding, what is below the surface. Like, Venus and Scorpio people don't want to be in materialistic relationships, or relationships that, don't are very above the surface. They are all about finding out about you. They want to know every single scar in your body. They want to know every single traumatic experience you've gone through, and they want to help you transform into a new person. And when you are a Libra person or Libra dominant person and you have your Venus in Scorpio, you are going to want to explore every single person that you meet, because you are all about finding that depth. But you are Libra, so you want to find that depth in everybody. Now I'm talking about even if it's just a neighbor across the street, because Libra people, they love to they love to talk and to meet people, and they're very engaging. But it's the Venus in Scorpio that makes them magnetic, and it makes you want to tell them things because they draw you in by being so friendly. But it's the Venus in Scorpio that makes them feel like you have to tell them, because they seem really interested in my traumatic experience, you know. What I've noticed about Venus and Scorpio people, and I have a load of these people around me, and they all seem to be Libras. They are, when you first meet them, they're very, very secretive at first. You know, they may not tell you everything, and you find yourself expressing so much to them, and you don't really know much about them. But what it is, Venus Scorpios have trust issues. You know, Scorpios always have trust issues anyway. But the thing is with them, they are trying to discover more about you, and they want to help you to transform and be this new, be this better person. They just have this suspicious nature of everyone. And I do find as well, like, a lot of times Venus and Scorpios, they don't trust people instantly, because everyone is suspicious to them. Even if that person hasn't done anything, you know, they are still very much suspicious of them, just in case, you know. And this can definitely be a problem. This is why it's in detriment in Venus, because Venus, you want to be meeting people, and you know, Venus and Scorpio makes it difficult because they are suspect of everybody. Also, I found, as we all know, you know, Scorpio is all about sex. I find Scorpio people, Venus and Scorpio people, when it comes to their sex life, honey, they always seem to fall in love, or they're like sexual vampires almost. But they seem to, like, when it comes to their sex life, they always feel validated. Their feelings feel validated after, because, you know, they connect so heavily through sex, and they end up feeling like, okay, I think I love him now because I've had sex with him, and I felt that deep Pluto energy, that I feel transformed after that sex life, honey, and you know, I've got to go back and fuck him again. You know, like, when it comes to these people, you guys connect heavily with your partners after sex, okay? Especially if your Venus is in that 8th house, you guys need that sexual intensity. Like, it's so needed, and your sex life is it's passionate. You know, you guys are notorious for getting that energy out of someone in the bedroom. It's not just like for example, if you're having sex with an Aries, Venus and Aries person, they are very, very physical in a sexual way. Just, you know, it's just sex. It's a physical act. With Venus and Scorpio, you are getting below the surface and drawing out that energy, that passion, you know, which is, I mean, Aries is passionate, but it's surface passionate, whereas Scorpio is passionate below the surface. Remember, they're both Mars ruled, and you know, one's the light side, one's the dark side, etc., etc. So they both have similarities, but very different at the same time. Now, I find when you have your Venus in the 11th house, honey, I feel that Venus in any air house, 11th house is ruled by Aquarius. Venus in Scorpio in any air house, it just cools it down. Let me not say any air house, maybe not so the 7th, but let's just go with the 11th and the 3rd for now, right? But I find when you have your Venus in that house, your Venus in Scorpio in that house, you know, you are naturally a relationship person, but when it's in that house, you become more open to having bonds with multiple people as well, because that house is all about creating bonds with friends. You know, I've got my Venus in that house, and it's about you guys could work really well in polygamous style relationships, probably like, let's say 3 relationships, but you're getting what you want from all 3 of these people. However, when I say polygamous, it's got to be a secret. You know, you guys would not be talking openly about, yeah, you know, I'm dating 3 guys and one guy does this, the other guy does that, another guy does this. You guys would not be that way. It would be very private to yourself, because you guys are private lovers. Like, you don't, you know, portray your partner on a pedestal so everyone can see. It's very private, and it's not a secret, but it's what you guys would express as being private. What I do like about Venus in Scorpio is this need and this urge for them to always want to search for the dark side to people's personalities, right? So, you know, like I said before, they're not about the surface, they are about finding what's really below. You know, you might be friends with with a Leo person. Leo is very image conscious, very above the surface. And Venus and Scorpios tend to see through that. Like, you're doing too much. Like, just, you know, bring it down from here to here. Chill. You guys will like to transform that person by getting to know them, by their traumatic experiences, the dark side to them. And that's what draws you into someone, by someone telling you the dark side to them. You can't, you know, you guys would never date someone who doesn't express in a sense where, Rala, I'm not going to tell you my darkest, deepest secrets or my traumatic experiences, because it's not attractive to you. You guys, you know, really appreciate Scorpio sun people or Scorpio dominant people who have this magnetic, mysterious way about them, because you guys are all about solving mysteries, honey. Like, you guys are attracted to those people who keep themselves to themselves, and, you know, they have this magnetic but mysterious way about them, and you want to be the Scooby-Doo to find out, you know, all about them. And that's what it's about. It's about investigating and getting to the nitty-gritty, because that is what you guys love. Someone who's, you know, bold and out there, and hey, look at me, and, you know, I have everything going. And someone who shows their entire life, you know, to the world, that is not what you guys are attracted to at all. It is not for you, and it just throws you off, because you like to investigate, you like secrets. What I've noticed as well about Venus and Scorpio people is you guys are attracted to people that do Scorpio things to you. Someone who is able to spark that passion in you by making you jealous. You guys hate the jealous feeling. You guys don't even want to be jealous. But the thing is, when someone sparks that jealous passion in you, it infuriates you. It brings that passion. But that's the thing. You need to feel that passion to know that you are deeply, deeply, you know, in love or, you know, involved with that person. You've got to feel that they've got to strike that jealous, passionate vibe in you. I've also noticed as well that because Venus in Scorpio people are not very good at expressing your love for your spouses, depending on your Venus, on your Mercury, of course, but I've noticed that you guys are not very good at talking through trust issues, etc. But you guys would make extremely good writers, especially erotic writing. And I say erotic writing because sex is sex is a deep physical, not physical act, but it's a deep spiritual act. And because you guys are so good at getting below the surface, below sex, you guys can describe it in a sense where other signs can't describe it. My Venus in Pisces self describes, sex as being so romantic, and he brushed his hands through my hair, and he smelt like this. And you guys would describe, the temperature in the room, the temperature that your body gets up to, how aroused you were, by every touch. And you guys would be really good at writing, erotic stories. Now, going back to having your Sag as a sun with your Venus in Scorpio, this person would definitely be someone who would create crimes out of passion. And it's mad because Venus and Scorpio, because you guys feel things so deeply, anyone who has especially an aggressive Mars as well, you guys would be notorious to kill an ex-partner because they betrayed you. You guys do not want to be betrayed at all, but you guys would kill out of passion. And I'm pretty sure when I did check signs most likely to kill, I haven't even seen their birth signs, but I know that Gemini was on there because Gemini has 10,000 personalities. They are mutable signs. Don't play with them when they are in love, honey. Geminis, Cancers, and Scorpios. I think they were the top 3 signs most likely to kill. But I find someone who has Sag elements or an aggressive Mars, let's say someone who's Sagittarius dominant, Venus in Scorpio, Mars in Cancer. Shit, then. I would definitely feel, that person could possibly do some damage, okay, when it comes to someone who's betrayed them. Now, the thing is with Scorpio, Venus and Scorpio, you guys do this one extreme to the other. Like, you have to work out a balance. And going back to balances as well, like, when it comes to Libras, I find a lot of Libra people, their Venus and Scorpio, need to work out a balance, because when you have your Venus and Scorpio as a Libra, you want the intensity a lot and from everybody. And Libras need to work out a balance where they just need to be friendly and that's it. Just be friends with everybody. Don't try and find that deep darkness in everybody. Work out a balance. Venus and Scorpios as well. Venus and Scorpio, depending on your Mars placement, because I dated a Venus and Scorpio guy, but his Mars was in Libra, so he wasn't the most dominating in the bedroom. But when you've got an aggressive Mars, like your Mars in fire, and you are Venus and Scorpio, when it comes to bedroom antics, these people are domineering, okay? These people, one of my friends, she's got her Mars in Sagittarius and she's Venus and Scorpio, and she's always saying how she could easily do dominatrix in the bedroom, which is, I always laugh whenever she says that, but that is very notorious for your Venus and Scorpio, just very dominating, whips and leather clothing, latex and shit. Oh, that's very Venus and Scorpio. When it comes to how you guys communicate, as I was just saying, crimes through passionate crimes, right? You guys can be so cutthroat with the words. If someone hurts you, they feel things so deeply. So if they cannot physically put their hands on you, they will use their mouth, and if your Venus is in not Venus, if your Mercury is in Scorpio, maybe not so much, but I do find, Mars in Scorpio people have a lot to say and do, right? But when your Venus is in Scorpio, these people are feeling from within, like their heart, and they will say some cutthroat things, and because they tend to go by feeling, then go by logic. And these people take, because Scorpio feels things so deeply, they can take a long time to get past their relationships, their previous relationships, because they love so deeply, And that's another reason why Venus in this placement in Scorpio is seen as being in detriment, because there's an issue with letting go and moving forward, because they always have like an ex that they're very much not attracted, but they're very much hooked on. Now, speaking of exes that you guys tend to be hooked on, people who have their Saturn in their seventh house, it definitely would lead to your relationships being or being lessons. You being someone who transforms. Even if your Pluto was in there as well, who knows? You might be someone who transforms through your relationships. And God, if your Pluto's in there, then your Venus has got to be in there as well, due to the Pluto generation, flipping out. Pluto Scorpio generation, which is my generation. Anyway, you guys, you're going to end up transforming a whole lot through your relationships. And especially if Pluto is conjunct your flipping Venus, man. Because in my generation, which I was born in 1990, Pluto tends to intensifies anything it touches, and creates a transformation depending on what house it's in as well. And I want to do a Pluto series going through the houses. I've got mine in my sixth house with my Lilith in Scorpios. That's a whole nother story. But I do find when your Pluto is conjunct your Venus, it just intensifies and gives it more of a Scorpio kind of feel. Like, you could have Venus in any sign, but if Pluto, if Pluto is in any sign, which it wouldn't be right now, because most people that have it in any other sign would be dead, in any of the surrounding signs near Scorpio, it would definitely intensify your Venus, just gives it a more Scorpio vibe. So that is my video on Venus in Scorpio. I hope you guys have thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one, people. So take care.